Everyone, hey, congratulations for No Loss, No Gain.
Thank you.
So this is an interesting film because it's much more of a drama than a thriller, to basically say it to the least. I mean, I enjoy it because it's much more like a drama, like what was it, like a 12 Angry Men type of thing, but being held to the gun side.
Yeah.
Absolutely. That was one of our model films for sure, and it was kind of intentional to kind of package a film like that as a heist film to kind of blend some genres, put people in a really strange situation, and then, focus on giving performances that really draw you into these characters and come to understand their psyche.
So Christian, where the original idea came from for No Loss, No Gain for you?
Yeah, so the original idea I've had for some time, just growing up watching a ton of movies, and in particular, I felt like I had never seen a heist film where the robber tried to hedge their bets and get away with the heist by letting all of the people that are in the bank at the time kind of in on the heist, right? And that sounds like a very simple idea, but it wasn't until we really started to flesh it out with the actors through a pretty heavy rehearsal period that we, came to understand that that simple idea could be very complicated and that it most likely wouldn't work out the way it feels like it would in theory. And then that could be an interesting platform for great characters and an interesting story. So,
absolutely, Amanda, John, we didn't forget about you. Let's start off with the easy question for both of you. What initially attracted you? Drew you into this story?
Yeah, for me, initially getting the sides for the audition, it was the fact that Allison, the character I play, was not a weak or weak-minded woman. She had a lot of power within herself, and she becomes a power player throughout the story. And so for me, I always appreciate a script that gives so much depth to the female characters. And so initially that's what drew me to the storyline, was there was a lot of thought put into the female characters within this story.
John?
Yeah, and kind of piggybacking off of that, it's like there was such an emphasis on character and the performances. It sort of lives and dies with the performances. It's this kind of pressure cooker situation inside of this bank, and so just that challenge and excitement as an actor to be able to play off of really rounded, deep characters and really well cast characters as well. Was super fun, and it made the job easy and fulfilling, in that you always had like pretty great energy to work with. You weren't performing to a tennis ball off camera or something, or coming in a couple days at a time and not really getting a sense of the scope of the thing. Right from the get-go, from the casting process to the final production, there was just always this emphasis on the cast and the performance and staying really focused on that. And I think that's smart. And so I really I liked that.
That is terrific. John, your character here, being, how could you say, sort of like the Robin Hood in his own way, do you view him as the good guy or the villain of the story?
That's an interesting question. No, I don't necessarily see him as the villain, but not really the hero either, because I think the journey of the character is that he comes in with a very pessimistic perspective on people and humanity, and he's sort of sold his soul over to this what he believes to be an altruistic action, but it's really quite illegal and quite dangerous. And somewhat needless from a certain point of view, but he's convinced himself otherwise. And he gets in there expecting everyone to be greedy and sort of just, shallow people. And what he encounters is a room full of living, breathing people with hearts and souls and identities and depth. And again, piggybacked off of really smart casting. Every one of the characters in this was really fun to play with, just because they all had a voice, they all had a perspective. And so it created for this really awesome dilemma that I got to write over the course of the film, which then sort of turns into the character's arc, so to speak, is discovering this humanity with all these people.
Amanda, your character, have to say, is complex at the least, because obviously your character's been pulled in so many different directions throughout the entire film. How did you manage to pull that off for yourself to get in that headspace?
Well, I don't know if I did pull it off. You guys tell me. All the audience tell me.
I'd say you did.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, I always work from the place of, no matter if you are playing a villain, so to speak, there's somewhere in their story that you can relate to, that you can connect with on a personal level. And so I think it's starting from that groundwork and then creating those building pieces. But I mean, we had a pretty extensive rehearsal period. And so being able to collaborate with Christian and everyone else in the cast was huge in forming who Allison was. And so just really having that prep time made such a huge difference in really discovering who she is. And obviously throughout the story, she ends as really a different person than who she was in the beginning. In the beginning of the story, you see her as anyone would be, nervous and scared. I mean, she's being held at gunpoint. Who wouldn't be terrified for their life, right? And so she starts off in this really fragile state, and by the end of the film, she's really claimed her power and has stood in the strength that she has, and becomes this person who, sort of calls the shots by the end of the film. And so it was really fun getting to experience that journey and being able to collaborate with everyone in order to really figure that out.
Most excellent. Christian, obviously you had a lot of enjoyment working with Amanda and John here, but talk about, because this movie is much more of an ensemble, because you actually worked with everyone in such a small contained space. Could you talk about working with the entire cast here?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we knew going into pre-production that it was going to mean some extensive rehearsals, not only for laying the pipe for the work that needed to be done when we started filming it, but also, creating an environment where this entire ensemble felt safe, that they felt like they could explore different parts of themselves and different parts of the character. And so, not only did we do that 6-month rehearsal of the script that actually informed the script and changed little details here or there based on the actors, input and performance as we were honing out the material. But that period ended with a live theater production, essentially like a play version, of the script here in Austin, Texas. And then leading all the way up to the actual, performance there in the bank in San Marcos. For me, it's like building a new relationship with anybody in my life. It's based on, trust, respect, and love, and just making that person feel comfortable. And that's, hopefully what they all felt. I know that by the time we got to on set, Amanda likes to say there was the day when certain cast members got in trouble. There were, I won't name any names, but there were 3 actors that were just, being class clowns on set. And we had, we had a lengthy word-filled script day. And, you know, we'd say, hey guys, you know, we love you, we're having fun, but you know, today we're less jokes in between takes. We're all laughing, we're all loving it, but we got to get this done. We don't want to be behind schedule, right? So, but no, I mean, that was the way I wanted to approach it. Like these people were my friends, and I want to get to know them, and I want to allow them to explore these characters to the best of their ability.
And Christian, one of the things that a lot when people watch this film, there's a lot of reference to sort of like the Occupy Wall Street and the banking bailouts, yes. Which quite honestly is so 13 years ago. I mean, a lot of things has happened since then that kind of overshadow it. What do you think about the timing of a film like this?
Well, you know, yeah, Occupy Wall Street is totally 13 years ago, but the rich getting richer and the poor getting poorer is not 13 years ago. And the idea of, you know, huge corporations being hacked and huge corporations, you know, making billions and trillions of dollars while the average American is scraping by paycheck to paycheck. That is not an old idea. And so, yeah, I mean, we couldn't have known when we wrote the script that the idea of 11 strangers essentially being quarantined in a strange room together and sitting at a table and arguing over what is morality and what's the right and wrong thing to do. You know, we couldn't have known that was going to potentially, you know, be the message that we're looking at now after everything we've been through. So, yeah, I mean, but while we were interested in unwieldy big ideas, the goal was to make a film that's heart was those characters, that the heart was the average American. And I think you can see that when you look at not only our cast, but the characters that they've created, that these are just ordinary people trying to figure out, you know, not only what they believe, but how they're going to scrape and get by.
Then I guess the ultimate question that comes down to all of you is, if you were in these character situation, would you take the funds? Who wants to start?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes, I wouldn't even have hesitated. Probably it would have been like, you need my routing number, my check. Here you go.
Yeah. I mean, if I'm being 100% honest, most likely yes. But I probably, you know, I probably would get as far away as possible, right? You know, because John Valley's character, you know, the intent is to not know whether you can trust this guy or not. So, yeah, I don't want to see anybody in that room ever again, right? I just want to take my money and run and hope I never run into him.
Move to Italy, move to Spain, like, live your life.
Yeah.
All right, well, let me toss one last question to John here. John, how much of a relief was it to take off that mask and be the only character that actually had a wardrobe change throughout the entire film?
Oh, you know, I'm of that mindset. I love working with, like, you know, costumes and masks and props and stuff. It's pretty freeing. That's one of the fun things to do with acting, because you do get to escape in it. So once the mask comes off, then it's, you know, all eyes are on me at that point. So it's, you know, it is what it is. It's the job, but it, you know, I kind of liked playing with the mask and stuff. It was difficult to see in it. They were pretty loose. But like, it's fun. You can kind of get into it a little bit more and get lost. You know, everybody kind of jokes about the mask culture of the last year and how the funny faces that we're making underneath our masks and kind of what your face will do that then informs the rest of your performance when you're trying to act through you know, something or to try to communicate through something. I think like Willem Dafoe talks about that with Spider-Man, how that was one of his most favorite performances because he had to push so hard to get through this like metallic mask that's like super loud and colorful. And I think there really is something to that. So it was fun. you know, those days shooting the initial heist sequence when we come into the bank was pretty cool. It's kind of like a, you know, fantasy fulfilled as a kid, you know, I think to do kind of running around with guns and play cowboy a little bit.
In an actual bank.
In an actual bank, yes.
Terrific. Well, Amanda, John, Christian, hey, congratulations once again for No Loss, No Gain. Hopefully we'll get to chat again on your next projects. Thank you very much.
Absolutely. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Thanks, Jake.
Everyone.